It's game week for Tennessee football, kind of. The orange and white game coming up this Saturday. Tennessee putting its final preparations into spring practice here before they take to Neyland Stadium in front of a crowd for a scrimmage and kind of really get this offseason fully rolling. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. And today was kind of linebackers day over in the media center afterwards. Talked to linebacker coach William Inge, the second time we've been able to talk to him, as well as a handful of linebackers. So let's just jump right into our takeaways. Start with you, Noah. What do you think about what Inge had to say?
Yeah, I asked him, what he's kind of learned about this group. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot, but he was kind of hired there late because of Brian Jean-Marie going back to Michigan, and I think it was just a couple weeks before spring ball started. So probably not a ton of time for him to develop relationships going into spring practice, but just asked what he's learned about those guys and said that there's a willingness there to learn. There's a willingness to play, to get better. One thing I thought was interesting was he said 6 a.m., just about every morning, guys are knocking on his door wanting to know what they're going to go over at practice that day. Yeah. I think that was, speaks volumes about those guys, their eagerness to learn. And I think he even cited Arian Carter as one of the guys that's the first there. So obviously a young guy that's dealt with some injuries late last season, has been limited in contact out here, but I think it's a really good sign for that linebacker room that those guys, because it's young outside of Keenan Peely, it's a pretty young room, but those guys are willing to learn every day.
Now what stood out to me was kind of the versatility he's calling for from this team. You saw it last year with an Aaron Beasley, where he could kind of flip and mold to either the Mike or the Will position, but that's something that Coach Inge kind of wants a lot of his players to be able to do, is to be comfortable at either spot so they can kind of mix and match more, maybe a little bit. Jeremiah Tander asked him about his comfortability, and he was like, yeah, I mean, I feel really good about where I'm at in terms of being able to play both spots. So that'll be something that I think could really help Tennessee when you're looking to kind of mix and match guys. Obviously, you have guys like Keenan Peely, who if he's on the field, he's probably your middle linebacker. But then you have more guys that can maybe slot into that will linebacker next to him. And it just kind of gives you more combinations you can put on the field. And that's something that Tennessee didn't necessarily have to an extent last year. Like I said, Aaron Beasley and a couple other guys were able to do it, but I think you feel really good about a lot of the guys now in this linebacker room being able to play both positions, which could go really well for Tennessee. Players, though, Keenan Peely, you mentioned him, kind of the old guy in the room right now. What were your thoughts on what he had to say?
Yeah, we heard William Inge talk about that a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago now, after he got hired. The nickname that I guess is kind of stuck with him, Uncle Grandpa. Yeah. But something that when we got to talk to Keenan Peely, he's fully embraced that role. Kind of understands, hey, I've been playing, I think this is maybe his 6th year of college football, which obviously was extended because of the injury last year. I expect big things out of him on the field, but just the leadership abilities too, I think, has been huge. Because again, it is a younger room. But a guy that's played a lot of football going back to BYU didn't get that opportunity last year, and mentioned that today. He said that I don't want to spend another year watching from the sideline. I thought that was pretty profound coming from a guy that had to sit back last year after coming in what was supposed to be a promising year. You get one game in and then it's over. But a guy that seems eager to get back out there on the field from what the coaches say, and has been, really. You got William Inge, who everybody talks about is very, very much a teacher type coach. I think those two are very compatible with having a leader like an on-field leader like Keenan Peely.
Now back to Jeremiah Tander. He's someone that kind of had things, it seemed, click towards the end of the season. Yeah. And he was really productive for Tennessee down the stretch. He was asked about what the moment was where maybe things clicked, and his answer was that there wasn't necessarily a moment. He just kind of gradually got more and more confident, said that if he can do it in practice, he's able to do it on an SEC field. And I think that's kind of interesting, because sometimes you hear guys and they have that welcome to the SEC or welcome to college football moment where maybe they get depleted or something, or they have a moment where everything clicks and it's like, okay, like things are making sense for him. It's just kind of been a slow build, and you saw it at the end of last season with how productive he was. And now we'll see with some of the health of some of those guys in that room, like in Arian Carter, even in a fully healthy room, Jeremiah Tander is going to be a name that's going to get his share of snaps and be able to develop here in his 2nd year. So assuming that he kind of keeps that gradual development, he could turn into a really, really solid player for Tennessee in that linebacker group. And he's still young. He's got a lot of room to grow. So another name to look out for in year 2 for him, and first year for linebacker coach William Inge. That'll do all from us here inside the practice facility, though. We'll be back on Thursday, where we'll talk to running back coach Darrell Sims and a handful of backs. So make sure you stick around for that as they continue their preparation for the spring game. Right after this, head coach Kim Caldwell of the Lady Vols will be taking part in her opening press conference to kind of kick off her tenure here in Tennessee. So make sure you stick around for that. We'll have content on that here and at VolReport.com. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.